Imagine this with me: a dark sky, radars scanning every inch, missiles ready to launch at any second. The world is living on the edge of a nuclear ending. And in the middle of this fear, one question changes history. Is it possible for an aircraft to cross the most dangerous sky in the world without being seen? This is not just the story of an airplane. It is a story of fear, genius, and the courage to break the impossible. This is the story of the B-2 spirit. We go back to the 1970s. The world is divided into two sides, the United States and the Soviet Union. Each side owns thousands of nuclear warheads. One small mistake, the world ends. This was the Cold War, a fragile peace built on the terrifying idea of mutually assured destruction. If one side launched its missiles, the other would retaliate, and civilization would be wiped out. For this deterrent to work, both sides had to be absolutely certain they could strike back, no matter what. But a dangerous problem was emerging for the United States. Soviet air defenses had become extremely advanced. Their radar networks were a dense electronic wall that could see almost everything flying towards them. American bombers, the very planes meant to guarantee that second strike, were now exposed and vulnerable. Military leaders and strategists realized a dangerous truth. In the event of a new global war, our aircraft may never reach their targets. They might never even come back. A solution was needed, and it couldn't be an ordinary one. Something radical had to be done. Inside the closed-off, highly secure offices at Northrop, engineers began thinking outside every established rule. They weren't just trying to improve on existing designs. They were trying to invent a new reality. One of them proposed an idea that, at the time, sounded completely insane. What if we don't try to outrun or outmaneuver the radar, but instead make the radar unable to see us at all? This simple question flipped the entire field of military aviation on its head. The central question changed from, how do we make the aircraft faster or fly higher? To, how do we make it invisible? And that's when the concept of stealth was truly born. It wasn't about speed anymore. It was about deception. It was about creating a phantom, an aircraft that could slip through the most sophisticated defenses on Earth as if it were never there. The challenge was immense, bordering on science fiction, but the need was too great to ignore. The era of invisibility had begun. To build their invisible aircraft, engineers went back to an old, almost forgotten archive, to designs from the 1940s. They found the work of Jack Northrop himself, an aircraft with no tail, no traditional body, just a single massive wing. This flying wing design had been tested decades earlier, but it had failed. The planes were notoriously unstable and almost impossible for a human pilot to control. But now it was the 1980s. The engineers had tools their predecessors could only dream of. They had powerful supercomputers for complex aerodynamic modeling. They had new, lightweight composite materials. And they had an unprecedented pool of engineering intelligence. They decided to take the risk and resurrect the flying wing. But there was still a huge problem. The shape was inherently unstable. On its own, it would tumble out of the sky. A human pilot simply couldn't react fast enough to keep it level. The solution was a technological marvel called fly-by-wire. Instead of the pilot directly controlling the plane's surfaces, a powerful computer does it. The pilot gives a command, and the computer makes thousands of micro-adjustments every second, faster than any human ever could, to keep the aircraft stable and on course. The impossible-to-fly design was finally tamed by silicon and software. Now that they had the shape, the real work of making it disappear began. Every single detail of the aircraft was designed for one purpose: do not reflect radar waves back to their source. Think of radar like a searchlight in the dark. If an object has flat surfaces and sharp angles, it reflects the light straight back, revealing its position. The B-2 has no sharp angles. Its surfaces are a masterpiece of smooth, flowing curves that scatter radar waves away, like a strange, misshapen rock in a stream. The engines, which are a huge source of heat and radar reflection, are buried deep inside the wing. Even the air intakes were meticulously calculated, designed with S-shaped curves so that the spinning fan blades of the engines are completely hidden from radar below. And the final touch? The entire aircraft is coated in a top-secret, radar-absorbing material. When radar waves hit the B-2, this special skin doesn't reflect them. It absorbs them, turning the radar energy into a tiny amount of heat. The result? To a radar operator, an aircraft the size of a football field looks like a small bird. Or, more often, nothing at all. It had become almost invisible. The project was so secret, it was given a special classification, existing in what's known as the Black World. The budget was astronomical, but hidden within other programs. The few thousand people who worked on it were sworn to absolute secrecy. The construction was done in a way that workers only ever saw one small part of the aircraft at a time. No single person was allowed to see the full shape to prevent any leaks. A slip of the tongue, a misplaced document. Any leak meant immediate prison time. Years passed. Billions of dollars were spent. And for nearly a decade, no one outside the program knew the truth. America was building a ghost. Until the day finally came. The year was 1989. The Cold War was thawing, but the world was still a tense place. At a facility in Palmdale, California, the hangar doors slowly rolled open. The curtain was lifted, and the world saw something it had never seen before. It looked like a spaceship from another world. A massive black triangular aircraft, like a ghost floating over the runway. Its name was simple, but powerful, the B-2 Spirit. Spirit, because it cannot be seen, but its presence is felt. It was a moment that shocked the world and redefined what was possible in aviation. After years of rigorous testing, the B-2 officially entered service in 1997. It went on to fly real combat missions in conflicts like Kosovo and Afghanistan. In every mission, it flew deep into heavily defended enemy territory, completed its objective, and returned, without a single one ever being shot down by enemy fire. The crazy idea had become a reality. The B-2 is not just an aircraft. It is a message. A message that says, the greatest inventions, the most profound breakthroughs, are not born from comfort. They are born from fear, from intense pressure, and from the primal need to survive. If the engineers had feared failure, if they had simply followed the old rules and tried to make a slightly better version of what already existed, the B-2 would never have existed. This story reminds us of one powerful and universal truth. The impossible is not a wall. It is just an old idea waiting to be broken. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as incredible as I did, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss our next dive into the stories that shaped our world.